Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you might be watching this at. Today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I helped Pamela transform her physique, her relationship with food, and become the competitive kind of rower that she really wanted to be. When Pamela first reached out to me, she'd been going through the same sort of struggles that a lot of women of her age in their 40s have been experiencing. She'd never tried Slimming World or Weight Watchers, but she tried every fad diet under the sun, had been killing herself with cardio, and nothing seemed to stuck. And she was beginning to feel very frustrated, exhausted, and just ultimately lost with what she should be doing in order to shift the excess body fat that she wanted to get off. Okay. Now, the primary goal for Pamela was, yes, to shift all that body fat, but she also wanted to become stronger, build a heap of muscle, and become a better competitive rower. She done rowing competitively about twice a week. Well, she trained twice a week and then competed throughout our time working together. So she wanted to become more athletic as well at the same time, as well driving that fat loss alongside it all. The reason that she had basically gone down this path of piling on weight and not knowing exactly how to get it off is because over the past X amount of years, basically her relationship with food has started to decline. And her knowledge and understanding around nutrition was a little bit skewed just due to the overwhelming amount of information out there, whether it was other YouTube videos, podcasts, TikTok influencers, social media in general. There's just obviously a wealth of information out there, some of it contradicting and just not knowing what to believe. So ultimately she got to a point where she was just feeling frustrated with it all. She would maybe try one thing that she saw on Instagram or TikTok for a couple of weeks. That wouldn't work for her as an individual. She would become frustrated and then fuck it all off and then start overeating again. And it was basically just a rinse and repeat cycle of jumping from different fad diet to fad diet. It not working for her because nutrition is very personal and none of these diets fitted her as an individual, her wants, her needs, her circumstances, or her preferences. So when it didn't work for her, she would end up just sacking it off and then feeling like a failure, using food as a bit of an emotional vice or clutch to ultimately help herself feel better. She'd gotten to a point where the weight really started to pile up and the body fat had gone to a point where she was feeling very shit about herself. Like when I first asked her the question, like, are you comfortable sending progress photos over to me with your check-ins? She said she's fine sending them over, but she couldn't bear to look at them because of where her physique currently was at. Like, as much as all of her goals were a little bit more physique and fitness based, she also wanted to be able to look in the mirror and just not feel completely disgusted with what was looking back at her. She wanted to be able to look in the mirror and feel proud. She wanted to be able to wear the clothing that she wanted to wear. She didn't want to feel so self-conscious in clothing and have to wear slightly baggier fits just so she wasn't feeling self-conscious when she was out in public. So having a complete audit and assessment of where Pamela's current lifestyle was at, she was obviously eating too much, hence why the body fat gain had gotten to that point. But she was also doing too much regarding her training and her output. This then leading her to feeling tired, exhausted, fatigued pretty much all the time. And the issue with this kind of feeling is, yeah, you obviously want to be expending a certain amount of energy, burning a certain amount of calories throughout the week. But when you drive yourself into the ground by just doing all of the cardio, all of the steps, all of the training, you feel beat up. Your effort and intensity in these kind of sessions, whether it's strength sessions or cardio sessions, starts to decline. And when you feel that level of fatigue and exhaustion, your motivation or general get up and go attitude towards preparing healthier meals goes out the window. So she was opting for more convenience foods. She was opting for the things that didn't take long to prepare. She was opting for things that she was maybe fancying or craving more than what she felt was good for her. And because she was feeling exhausted and beat up, and those nutritional choices obviously weren't the best, when you are in that position, you're just generally not feeling overly healthy. Despite you putting in all this graft and effort, you just feel exhausted, and nobody in that position thinks, oh, I could murder a salad. They always go for, oh, well, like that pasta bake that I can chuck in the microwave, or that oven pizza or getting a takeaway, whatever. You opt for these convenience foods because it's more comfort during a time where you are wanting comforted, okay? So the first thing that I said to her is like, look, we're gonna back off. Currently at the moment, you're going to the gym 5 or 6 times per week. You're then doing your rowing twice a week, and then you're doing cardio on top of that, okay? Her step count wasn't sky high. It was somewhere in the region of about 8,000 to 9,000, so that's a healthy amount. But everything else was it was too high. So the first thing I said to her is like, look, we're gonna focus on 4 quality strength sessions that get you in and out of the gym in under 60 minutes. You're gonna do 2 sets per exercise. You're gonna focus on getting strong on those 2 sets, and that is gonna get the job done, okay? While allowing you 3 days to either focus on your rowing or recover from your training and not feel as beat up. We're gonna focus on a diet that is probably higher calorie than any kind of diet she's actually done in the past. However, because that food intake is gonna be higher, you are gonna be able to stick to it longer. Okay, rather than trying a fad diet that removes an entire food group or restricts the amount of food that you're eating, whatever it might be, you might be able to stick for that for 14 days, but when your hunger and your cravings are completely overwhelming and you're feeling as beat up as you are, that will go out the window. So we're gonna focus on quality strength sessions. We're gonna focus on an adequate amount of cardio output. We're gonna focus on you eating more and making sure it's quality food, so the food volume is still in place, so hunger is not as much of a factor. But that extra food is also going to allow you to not just perform better in everything that you're doing, but also recover better as well at the same time, as well as keeping you satiated and filled with energy throughout the day and the week. Because that higher food intake is going to allow you to actually stick to a diet easier, you're still in a calorie deficit, so you're going to see progress. Because you're seeing that progress, you're going to be more motivated to actually stick to it even longer. She was a bit skeptical at first, understandable, because a person who has spent so long trying these different kind of diets and it's all they know. This happens more times than not with the people that I work with, where there is a little bit of skepticism at the beginning because of all the methods they've tried in the past, even though they haven't worked. But this is completely the polar opposite. I'm a massive advocate on eating as much as possible for as long as possible, because one, means you could probably lift better will mean you can lift better in the gym, you'll perform better on a day-to-day basis, you'll feel healthier, fitter, more energetic, more motivated, and you'll be able to actually stick to it, most importantly. So you will make progress across the board. So she was a bit skeptical at first, but she gave it a shot. And then 2 weeks in, lo and behold, the weight was coming down, okay? And then when that first month had surpassed, she was now experiencing not just the scale weight changes, it's a bit of a motivator to begin with because it's instant gratification, but when she started experiencing the performance improvements in the gym and the performance improvements in her rowing, generally feeling more energetic on a day-to-day basis, sleeping better, not feeling as beat up. And on top of all that, because she is feeling more energetic and recovering better, she's more motivated to actually continue clean eating. And then over time, we gradually brought that calorie intake down. But again, it matched the amount of training that she was doing. In and out of the gym in 45 to 60 minutes, 2 rowing sessions, 8 to 9,000 steps as an average across the week. That's all that she was doing, okay? I took back that extra cardio that she was doing on top of her rowing sessions because it was completely unnecessary. Her step count stayed pretty much the same. I reduced the amount of training, not just the amount of training sessions she was doing per week, but the amount of time she was spending in the gym every session as well. And we focused on quality rather than quantity. Because of all of this, and because she was recovering better, and because she had more energy, she was able to stick to it for a longer period of time. And because of that, and then the evidence of it actually working and doing what she wanted it to do, she was able to stick to it for longer. And obviously we were focused on quality food as well at the same time. Complex carbohydrates, unsaturated fats, an adequate amount of protein going in. Not saying that she lived like a bodybuilder for the time that we worked together. However, she completely transformed her physique in under 6 months. Going from looking like this to looking like this in under 6 months, when all you know is starvation and fad diets and ridiculous amounts of cardio, to then stripping it all back, eating more, and then seeing these kind of physical changes in her physique. She couldn't believe what was happening, okay? And the thing is as well, the longer that we worked together, by that 6-month period being over, we saw a massive improvement with her relationship with food. She now understood the importance of proper nutrition. She now understood that more calories going in could often mean more calories going out when you are training and exercising the correct way, all right? And ultimately as well, eating more food means that you're going to be able to actually stick to it for longer. And if you can consistently stay at a higher caloric intake that's still in a deficit, you are going to be compounding more weight loss every week, every month, every year, okay? It's all well and good sticking to a 1,200 calorie diet for 14 days, but if you can't stick to that for the majority of the year, then what's the point? If you have that much weight to lose, that is, obviously. Okay, whereas if we double that caloric intake and it's still you in a deficit, you're not going to lose as much weight on a week-to-week basis, but throughout the month and throughout the period of time you're in that fat loss phase, you're going to be able to stick to it longer, and you're going to compound more fat loss and more weight loss in that time. And that is why I'm an advocate of more food going in, so you can actually see more progress and stick to it long term as well at the same time. So yeah, 6 months in, Pamela has completely transformed not just her physique, not just her athletic ability, not just her own self-confidence and belief, but also her relationship with food. Okay, she now understands how nutrition works, and she understands the importance of proper nutrition and the benefits to it. And she's no longer going to be going back to fad diets. She's no longer going to be seeing what some wanky TikTok influencer is preaching as the most effective diet for fat loss and then jumping on the next shiny tactic or method. She knows that all she has to be doing is managing her calories, eating an adequate amount of protein, eating an adequate amount of fiber, and as she is a female, getting in somewhere in the region of like 40 to 50 grams of unsaturated fats. Okay, it's not rocket science. And then she's prioritizing her carbohydrate intake around her pre and post workout window. So she's having 4 or 5 meals per day. She's just making sure that that meal before she trains and that meal after she trains has got carbs in it. Okay, and if she's rowing, pretty much the same thing. Okay, but that is exactly where Pamela is at now. Not only changed her physique, her relationship with food, and her own self-confidence and belief, she's now looking in the mirror. She's no longer disgusted. She can send me check-in photos and not have to just like blindly press send without looking at that picture. She can look at her own physique and feel proud, feel fulfilled, and feel satisfied with the graft that she's put in and with the progress and the results that she's actually achieved in such a short space of time. Now, if what I've spoken about, if Pamela's story sounds very familiar, if it sounds like exactly what you are going through or have went through, if you're feeling lost, confused, frustrated, and exhausted, trying to find a method or a tactic that will help you shift an obscene amount of weight and transform your body, your health, your fitness, your relationship with food, your own self-belief and confidence, send me a message on Instagram. We'll have a conversation about how I can get you set up and help you create your own transformation. Catch you in the next video.